Hello everybody, welcome back to the video, and this is part 2 of a series of me going through each of the FDR elections and seeing if it is possible for him to lose. I already did part 1 of this covering 1932, this is part 2 covering 1936. So, let's get into this. It's no secret the Roosevelt administration has been monumentally successful in taking action on the Great Depression. It's now time for Roosevelt to ask the American people for 4 more years. Roosevelt remains personally popular, but the Great Depression is still roaring and there's other crises to attend to. Meanwhile, sacrificial lamb Alf Landon will attempt to put up a solid performance and prevent a total wipeout for the grand old party. He will try to moderate on the New Deal, press his record, while avoiding casting the conservative wing overboard. Okay. So we're going to go with Alf Landon, the incumbent governor of Kansas. Landon is everything the Republican establishment could dream of for this election, able to walk the line between supporting aspects of the New Deal, but also appealing to business interests, all while serving in a state Roosevelt carried 4 years ago. But if he cannot win this election, it's unknown who could. Landon must find some way to put a hammer to the New Deal coalition, either by hemorrhaging specific Republican planks, or perhaps by trying to bring back the traditional coalition that saw the Republican banner fly from California to Connecticut and everywhere but the South. Wait. Do I not get a VP? I continue. Landon for president. Okay. Do we not even get a VP? As you begin your campaign for the Republican nomination, will your primary strategy be to ensure your nomination at the convention in June? Oh, hold up. What now? Oh, no. Okay. To see the Republican Party name as strongest possible candidate and a man that would be a good president, the business wing. I will wrong foot Bora by pivoting to the left in order to ensure a clean sweep of the Republican primaries. Go. Safe strategy, but this doesn't really push you further in either direction. While most delegates are allocated at caucuses or state conventions, a growing number of states have moved to a system where delegates are allocated by direct primary elections. Is there a specific state you would like to campaign in for the primaries? We will put resources into winning the Nebraska primary. We will attempt to win California. I want our name on the ballot in Illinois. We should start. Let's go with California. As expected, favorite son Earl Warren wins easily, but his delegates will have no trouble backing you when the convention comes round. Okay. Take your pick. California, why not? Former President Herbert Hoover doesn't particularly like you, nor do you like him, and has made it clear he would accept the nomination if offered. How will you deal with the former president and his faction? By and large, we can just ignore him. Party leadership looks to be strongly in my favor, and we shouldn't rock the boat here. Wherever possible, we will talk about the urgent need for new leadership, and we're willing to take this to the convention if needed. Why not extend an olive branch? Let's just ignore him. This is probably the safest answer here. Which is more important to your campaign, ensuring that progressive Republicans turn out, or ensuring conservatives stay on board. It's important we need to bring progressives back into the fold. We will need to ensure conservatives. Let's work on the progressives. This is an expected strategy to take in the campaign, but we've got 21, so we're making leeway. Oh, Kansas is tied currently. I think it's saying we will win, but let's go to Colorado. It's the start of the convention, and the Stop Landon movement appears to be kicking into gear. Is there anyone you wish to negotiate with to secure a smooth nomination? I'll go and talk to William Borah. Perhaps he could understand. I am the only one stopping Hoover from calling back the nomination. Frank Knox is a fellow member of the more liberal wing of the party. If we have a shot with anyone, it's going to be him. Arthur Vandenberg is a favorite by conservatives in the Senate. Let's talk to William Borah. Borah doesn't seem to get it, and even after the convention, he refuses to endorse either candidate. Ouch. Luckily, you're still able to clinch the nomination. Oh, now I get to pick my running mate. Okay, this is interesting. So I actually get to do a mini primary beforehand? That's not something in the other ones. Franklin Knox is an editor for the Chicago Daily News and ran the primaries against you, winning Illinois and New Hampshire. He's somewhat known as an internationalist, and he did vote for Roosevelt in 1912. He's often described as being aligned with the moderate wing. He certainly wouldn't hurt your candidacy, but his assistance will be limited to simply not scaring off moderates, a group of voters you will absolutely need to win. He does not excite either wing, with progressives finding him too conservative and conservatives finding him too liberal. William Borah is a popular insurgent senator from the state of Idaho. Your primary rival in the quest for the Republican nomination, he's widely known as a progressive and a maverick within the party. Before Republicans lost control of the Senate in 1933, he was a chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, giving him heavy influence in foreign affairs, which he used to chart the nation in an isolationist path. Borah is from Ohio, which is not a large electoral prize. His isolationist views might help you in some places, but hurt you in others. His candidacy is part of an attempt to realign the Republican Party to a progressive organization, which will help you in some areas but hurt you in others. Arthur Vandenberg is a senator from Michigan. Okay. And has made a name for himself as one of the few remaining Senate leaders. Vandenberg is a staunch conservative and will help energize that wing of the party. He is exactly who you want as your running mate. Yet he refuses and refuses. It may take many concessions to get him on board the ticket, especially considering he opposed your nomination. Vandenberg has been a staunch critic of the New Deal, which could help you in some areas but hurt you in others. Make sure you do enough to get him on board the ticket. Okay. This is tough. But let's go with Knox was the VP in real life, and that did not go well. So let's go with Vandenberg. After some effort, you've pulled the convention into nominating Arthur Vandenberg for vice president. With so much effort put into having him selected, can you explain your rationale behind your decisions? He's a strong conservative and represents the direction I really want to take this party. He will help in both my call for sensible reform and limits with the New Deal. While I enjoy some aspects of the New Deal, we need independent voices like Vandenberg who are not afraid to show their beliefs. Conservatives go from booing to cheering in one sentence. Vandenberg is an unexpected pick. And that didn't really help us. Okay, we're going to Arkansas. With both the Republican and Democratic conventions over, the campaign season starts to kick into gear. Well, the main theme be, we will balance both wings of the party. I want to take the attack to Roosevelt's unnecessary control. Okay. Let's emphasize his work as the governor of Kansas. Pressing your record as governor is a good move. Okay. Unsurprisingly, your opponent will be Franklin Roosevelt, who remains personally popular. How will you handle discussing him in your campaign? What are your views on him? It's best we avoid talking about Roosevelt personally. He is more popular than some of his programs. Let's hone in on unstable spending like Social Security. I respect Roosevelt in certain aspects of the New Deal, but it's important for him to realize he must not govern alone. There must be checks on the amount of spending and limits on certain waste. He had good intentions. The path of government control of the economy has been leading us down is a path that may very well reach socialism. I mean, yeah, we do need to take a few swings. We're winning in Kansas, where we're the governor of. He had good intentions. This is a solid attack, even if plenty of people support Roosevelt's programs. Okay, wait. Okay. 32. We could do something here. In Roosevelt's 1932 campaign, he saw unprecedented minority support that no Democrat has ever achieved. During this campaign, what will be your position on civil rights be? Okay, let's hit Roosevelt hard on this, especially as a way to claw back liberal support. How can he claim to be working for all of us when time and time again he refuses to discuss civil rights? Yeah. Unfortunately, Roosevelt essentially ignores you here. Did that help us get any more electoral votes? Nope, we've lost some, actually. Although fighting has largely stopped, Japan took Manchuria in 1933 and seems to be eyeing up the rest of the continent. If elected, how will you deal with Japan? There we go. Internationally focused answer may not be in tune with the nation, but a firm position here may not hurt you badly. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to sink Roosevelt in all of these to win, aren't we? Okay. Many expect you have the potential to lose states. Hoover won 4 years ago. Is there a specific one you'd like to put resources? Connecticut was essentially a one-party state until Al Smith came shockingly close to winning it, and Democrats have been performing better and better there. Pennsylvania is the largest state Hoover won, but Roosevelt came within 5 points. Vermont may be a mere 3 electoral votes, but Roosevelt's clearly gunning for a 50-state sweep. We must avoid such embarrassment. Maine is likely to vote in lockstep with Vermont. Let's go with Pennsylvania. Wait. Pennsylvania. Yes, let's go Pennsylvania. That one could be a good one to shift. Pennsylvania looks to be a great opportunity to defend your electoral vote margin. That didn't help us out too much. Last fall saw the demise of Senator Huey Long. Most of his potential supporters have returned to the Democrat fold, but there's still some on the fence. Open to supporting a platform of William Lemke of the Union Party. Will your campaign do anything to support this? The same man to work with the Roosevelt administration to limit bank powers should receive 0 votes. Anyone interested in fiscal conservatism? I'll make sure to campaign in North Dakota, a state where Lemke may actually be able to take support from us. He is a Republican after all. Long planned to be a candidate of the Hitler type, and I expect Lemke will as well. We should by and large ignore him. Lemke sees this move, and similar moves by Roosevelt is conceding that he's a threat to both of you and will double down on his campaign. Oh no. That's not really helping us out. Let's go to a state we could probably flip. South Dakota. Earlier this year, tragedy struck out west is another one of the Dust Bowl. Another wave of the Dust Bowl appears to have occurred. You're the governor of one of the states that was most hardest hit. Roosevelt has been pushing federal programs to assist folks during this, but what additional actions will you take to help minimize the damage? We will do what we can to relieve the region. Let's not forget, we need to focus on the bigger picture here. We should emphasize to farmers our policy for safer farming techniques. We'll let Roosevelt continue the course. Analyze the areas most affected, apply measures to stabilize and conserve soil, use the FSA to coordinate humanitarian aid. We need federal aid as soon as possible and a line of trees to stop the storm from spreading. I'm sure Roosevelt is looking to carry Kansas, and won't ignore me making public requests. This option could be seen as weak. This one goes well. Some feel the aggressiveness of the campaign to change how citizens farm in poor taste, although many understand why it has to be done. The second New Deal was passed across the last 2 years and features a lot of programs. Any programs you are willing to keep around? No, I would give everything a fair look when keeping our budget in mind. Social Security. I think Social Security is the most popular thing, so let's do that. This is a flip-flop from your previous position. Okay. Pennsylvania. We expect you to lose states that Hoover won 4 years ago. Connecticut. The resources you put to Connecticut will be put to good use, and leaders over there feel you can pull off this one for you. The Literary Digest, which has predicted the winner in the last 5 elections, is yet to announce its polling for 1936 elections, but it appears you've gotten an early scoop, and we will hope for the best. The Literary Digest is not the only poll, but they're the largest. They predict you will win in a landslide. Okay, wait, we're winning. We're winning. Okay, we just need to keep that, and we're good. Although polling is now a bit murkier due to the results of the Literary Digest's latest poll, you must continue to campaign. Let your campaign continue. We need to play offense. This is the expected response. During the last few years, Roosevelt has enacted the Good Neighbor policy, which has been used to improve foreign relations with Latin America. What would a Landon administration's foreign policy in regards to Latin America look like? Let's see what we're at currently. Okay. Over the past few decades, we've strained our relations with the Latin American nations. The Good Neighbor policy does well, keeping us on good terms. Roosevelt has a good idea, but unfortunately does not refuse to go far enough with it. We need to cooperate with our fellow neighbors to ensure peace and cooperation. We should have properly meditated peace during the Chaco War. There's little need to intervene in Latin America, but this cooperative policy goes against the isolationist desires of the nations. Let's see, foreign policy. It's kind of spread out. But we are an isolationist, I believe. It's a good way to excite conservative voters. Okay, you've chosen to visit Nevada. One, a Republican bastion. They all went to Roosevelt 4 years ago in unison. How much effort will we put into securing the votes of the western states? Our efforts should be more on the Midwest and Plains. I believe the West is largely a lost cause here. A trip out there will only take us away from New York, Pennsylvania, and Illinois. You know what? Yeah. The smart strategy, if you're looking to pad out your electoral margin, regardless of what happens between you and Roosevelt, the Democrats may very well retain Congress. To what extent do you believe you will be able to work with the party? I'm sure we can find common ground on issues like the budget, especially with Southern leaders. Past that, I'll cooperate whenever I can. Expect a victory by me. We'll see voters return a Republican Congress. We may not agree on some topics such as tariffs, but I believe if voters return a split decision, they're asking us to compromise. My mandate will take into account the full returns in November. Let's go with that. Sure, we can find some common ground. Solid answer, and one that thankfully doesn't attract claims of you being a lily white Republican. Okay. Montana. Within the past few months, civil war has broken out in Spain. How would your administration handle the current fighting? Would you push for any support of the Spanish Republicans? We are in no position to influence the events of Europe. When our own house is in order, I do not support any kind of intervention. We are tied by the Neutrality Act, which is the law of the land. We will send humanitarian aid. To allow the nationalists to win would be a disaster for Europe and perhaps the Good Neighbor policy. We're in no position. Regardless of the dividing feelings of your party, if you're looking to win, staying within the mood of the public is key. And what are we at now? We're still winning. Okay. What are your thoughts on the Tennessee Valley Authority, the federally owned electrical utility company? Should the U.S. use the TVA as a blueprint for future projects? We should definitely use the TVA as a model for future projects. Electricity should be affordable for all Americans. I support the TVA and what it has done to protect the Tennessee Valley, but let's keep it to its current status. Future projects can be handled by private authorities. While the TVA is a project with the best intentions, it should be spun off from the federal government after the Depression is over. It can be more efficient and even expanded by private citizens. Let's keep it to its current status. Although you're sticking to your guns, your advisors believe you're leaving something on the table. The TVA is very popular nationwide. If we cannot make any gaffes, we win this. Right as the Literary Digest poll goes public, you give a series of speeches around the country. What will you focus on in your final stump speech? For the good of all of us, we must reestablish responsibility in the handling of government finances. We must recognize that a government does not have an unlimited supply of money to spend, judged by the things that make us happy, make us a nation of happy families. The New Deal has fallen short of success. The proof of this is the record. The record shows that in 1933, the primary need was jobs for the unemployed. The record in 1936, the primary need is still jobs for the unemployed. The whole American people want work at full time and at full pay. They want to share in steady progress. Natural economic planning violates the basic ideals of the American system. An expected final topic, which will help with conservatives. Okay. Where will you spend the final day of your campaign before you return to your home in Kansas? New York. You take a seat in your home in Kansas just in time for the first of the voting returns to start. Wait. Why is it not? Why is it not running? Is there something else? As you began to watch the results, it becomes clear that the Literary Digest was incredibly off. Oh no. Oh dear, perhaps things aren't as they seemed. Unfortunately, you may very well be right. Election night has arrived. Settle in and wait for the returns, however long it may take. Best of luck. Go to final results. As expected, you've lost the 1936 election in a rout. Considering how unpopular the Republican Party is nationwide, this isn't a huge surprise. Even if the Literary Digest gave Republicans some false hope, still, some Republicans felt you could have and should have done much better, but it appears you are no match for Roosevelt. Roosevelt will continue to pass the New Deal programs with emboldened national support. This is probably the end of your political career with how big a loss this was. It seems you only won a couple of northeastern New England states and maybe your home state of Kansas. You could always go back to run for governor, as you are well liked there. I even lost the home state of Kansas. I did slightly better in the game than real life. Play again. Okay. Roosevelt. Congratulations, Mr. President. You've been easily renominated to a second term. I'll emphasize our platforms. Okay. It's a good speech. At the convention, you ask delegates for a vote. A rule change to remove the 2/3 requirement to nominate an individual for president. For decades, the South has used this rule to essentially control the nominating process. The delegates began to vote. I fully expect they will listen. The rule that left the 1924 DNC going for weeks has been repealed. Nominees for president need only a simple majority. It's unknown the long-term effects of this change, but it's clear you have control of the party. John Nance Garner, incumbent, will affirm. Let's go with Henry Wallace. Henry Wallace, you steered the convention to drop Cactus Jack and nominate Secretary of Agriculture Henry Wallace. Care to explain your decision to the general electorate? How active a role will he have? He is a good, hardworking, progressive man. Wallace will help you with liberals, but tread lightly when considering the South. Okay, what will the main theme be? Let's try to be partisan. Okay, that's not great. If we could, despite your veto, Congress passed the bonus bill. We're going to drag our feet here. Fiscal damage is done with this bill, and the public is left scratching their head at you digging in to stop the Treasury here. Okay? How'd that help us? Did that do anything? No, it did not. Okay. The Walsh-Healy Public Contracts Act of 1936 is shown up on your desk. If signed, it would broadly establish labor standards for government contractors such as a minimum wage and overtime pay. Will you sign it or veto it? I think it goes too far. This will hurt you among progressives. Their bills arrived. The Burns Act, also known as the Anti-Strikebreaker Law, has shown up on your desk. It would make it illegal to transport strikebreakers, those who work during a strike, across state lines. Will you sign it or veto it? I'll be vetoing it. I don't see this as being within the jurisdiction of the federal government. I'll be vetoing it. I do not support the general thrust, but I believe it would be struck down by the courts as unconstitutional. I will be signing this bill. This is, oh no, okay. Unsurprisingly, your opponent will be Kansas Governor Alf Landon, who is backed heavily by the Republican establishment. So far, however, he appears to have an ineffective campaigner, and much of his campaign will be led by Republican operatives. To what extent will you take advantage of this? Let's not talk about him. Your advisors believe you're leaving good opportunities on the table, but you're heading the polls. Okay. Trying to sink Roosevelt, although fighting is largely stopped. There you go. Internationally focused answer. May not be in tune with the nation, but a firm position here. Do you think it was a good decision to participate in the Summer Olympics in Hitler's Nazi Germany this year? Ultimately, Germany held the rights to the Olympics, and Jesse Owens' win may help us undermine some of the Nazis' views. I believe we can show other countries our strength in even in small ways like this. Okay. Anyone can see from a mile away that, yeah, let's go with that. Much debate was involved in determining to attend or not. You have definitely staked out a liberal position here, even if this is a small issue. Your advisors are looking for some input specifically on which achievements of yours to emphasize during your administration. The Second New Deal was passed across the last 2 years and features a lot of programs. Which will you emphasize the most during your campaign? Let's embolden the Public Works Progress Administration. Has kept many employed, but that was one that I really wanted a bad answer to. If we could, okay. Many expect you have the potential to win states Hoover won 4 years ago. Okay. Let's go with Vermont here. Vermont has never voted for the Democrat Party in its current state, but your advisors believe now is the best chance to win it. Okay. Nevada. Climate in Europe is darkening, with both Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini taking power in Germany and Italy, and Italian forces closing in on conquering Europe. Do you have any comments? All right. I think the changes we've seen in the world in terms of policies have been based upon a strong desire for change from the old capitalist system. Let's go with that. Some Americans indeed look up to these new despots as a source of stability in a rapidly changing world, but many more people are concerned about their aggressive nature. Okay, I thought the cough was might hurt a little bit. In your 1932 campaign, you saw unprecedented minority support that no Democrat has ever achieved. You got the right mindset, but as expected, the Southern Democrats are mad. They splinter into a third party and nominate Harry F. Byrd, vowing to keep the racist policies which you wish to appeal. Hopefully you can win without those states. Okay, if we make more gaffes as Roosevelt, we should have a shot at this. Last fall, major thorn in your side was removed with the demise of Senator Huey Long. Most of his potential supporters have returned to the Democratic fold, but there are still some on the fence, open to supporting the platform of William Limke of the Union Party. What will your campaign do? It's probably the smartest hedge you can make. Acknowledging Limke is a bad move. Of course, any support you can bleed from him is a smart move. Alright. They predict Landon will win in a landslide. We just need to keep going here. Although polling is now a bit murkier. You made a breakthrough into this region 4 years ago, and despite what the polls say. Okay, after dropping Gardner and the repeal of the 2/3 rule, Southern and conservative Democrats seem a little less enthused. Let's send Wallace to the South. This will be funny. The gamble pays. Oh no. Obviously, he isn't beloved by Southern leaders. Man, I thought that was a funny idea. What is your current policy towards farmers, and more specifically, government subsidies? Farmers are not happy about this move, especially so close to Election Day. How much will you make the good neighbor policy, which you've used to improve foreign relations with Latin America, an aspect of your campaign? This is... What's foreign policy? Okay. So go away to market the policy? Oh, no. Okay. I'm trying to think. Let's just keep sinking the campaign. Let's be real, Mr. President. How much of the New Deal is temporary? What do you think will and should remain after the Depression? Okay. This is an expected response. Your relationship with the Supreme Court has been quite rocky for some time. They have ruled a variety of your programs as unconstitutional. How will your relationship with the court go in a second term of yours? The Supreme Court has subverted the will of the people long enough. By the end of the day, the court's decisions are final. I won't make it a crucial part of my campaign. Even if voters are upset by some rulings, may see this as a bridge too far, but economic progressives appreciate this strong stance. Rise the Literary Digest poll goes public. You give a speech in Madison Square Garden. Okay. Submit to you a record of peace. An energetic and populist speech that truly fires the crowd up. The polls were wrong, so I don't even know where it's going this time. Where will you spend the final day of your campaign before you return to the White House? Illinois. You take a seat at your home in Hyde Park, and just in time for the first of the results. Oh no. Oh no. Are we still going to have. As you begin to watch the results, it becomes clear that the Literary Digest was incredibly off. As expected, we're going to win this. Congratulations, Mr. President. You've won the 1936 election in a landslide. Despite some concerns about the continuing depression and that scare by the Literary Digest, you have held on, albeit with a reduced margin than your victory 4 years ago. Landon seemed to run a strong campaign. Things could have gone wrong along the way, but many expected this, regardless of what some polls said. Landon sends a brief telegram to concede the election as you continue to celebrate. With this victory, the coattails you have brought with you are massive. Democrats appear poised to control about 65% of both chambers, which is good news for your agenda. With this commanding win, you're in ample position to build upon your first 4 years and lead the country back to prosperity and security. If you do well enough, you could leave a strong legacy for your successor, who is likely to be Cactus Jack. Good luck, Mr. President. Election map. Okay. Overall results. There you go. So I did sink it a little bit, but man, I still failed. So out of the 4 attempts I've done to try to defeat Roosevelt's chances, I have had 1 success. And that was sinking FDR in 1932. But that is it for part 2. We're halfway through the Roosevelt elections. Next up, we get to the slightly more controversial topic of Roosevelt's 3rd term. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.